there, Surfrom17 once again. This is my Yakuza 5 Extra Hard Difficulty walkthrough. This is part 2, chapter 2. It's called The Way of Resolve. We're playing as good old Taiga Saejima, and we're currently doing some exploration inside of this prison. So whenever the indicator on the map has a waypoint, you should follow it, because it's gonna lead to good things. Of course, if you're looking to do all the side content, all the side missions, all the sub-stories, you know, all the mini-games and all the different things that you can pretty much lose a lot of hours to in Yakuza, you don't want to follow it too strictly or you'll miss a ton of it, because although you can come back and do things in the premium adventure mode and things like that, you will not be able to do certain things and certain features can be missed. A good example for me was the sub-stories. I did all the sub-stories except for the Haruka ones, as we play darts here against Kaguya, and she kicks my ass, which is always interesting because the notion of this minigame here is you line it up with the left analog and then you pull the right analog back and then you release it and it flicks the dart for you. And I've tried it doing, you know, different techniques, different speeds, different strengths, you know, different placebo effects to try and get the same result, and I never do. So as much as I would love to get, you know, a bunch of triple 20s, I don't have the skill in this particular minigame to do it. But the computer, of course, can, because they can be very good when they choose to. And on hard, I beat this girl pretty easily. On extra hard, she shits on me, so don't expect too much from this. But the good news is, guys, you do not have to win these games. It's just mandatory examples of what some of the side stuff is. Like, darts can be done really well in minigame form, I just don't think this is very good. As opposed to, for instance, the bowling. I think Yakuza does bowling fantastically. I think they do the ice hockey, the air hockey, sorry, quite well. You know, I think the pool, even though the computer's fluent fucking bullshit and evil and cheats, it's still, you know, pretty fun, but I'm not a big fan of the darts. But as I was saying, sorry folks, I did all the side missions except for the Haruka ones, and then when I started doing this recording for this walkthrough, in the premium adventure mode, or whatever it's called, premium new game, when I was playing as the other characters, every single time I turned on the console, I got an email on the phone telling me that I'd done all the submissions. So I was assuming that it had carried over that progress. And when I got to Haruka, I did all hers. So at that point, I'd done all of them. Each of my character had this email saying, congratulations, you've done all the sub-stories, here's this nice reward. And then I went into New Serena expecting to get the cutscene that triggers the Amon fight, and it didn't happen. So it seems like you have to literally do all of the characters in a single run, regardless of if you've done them before, to get the secret fight, which is incredibly annoying, but now I know, you know, it's going to hopefully empower me. So just be careful, folks, when it comes to understanding Yakuza. The main issue you're going to have is just that there's not enough information on this game, and all the information that is like spliced between both Japanese and English, and it really doesn't give you the answers that you're looking for, because I know from experience I've been looking for things like getting a list of all of Kazuma's heat actions or all of his revelations and trainings in Yakuza 5, because I'm missing like 4 of them and I have no idea where they are. And I'm looking for it on the internet, I'm googling things, I'm going on like the fucking wikis and all the Japanese stuff and that, and I just can't see a single thing. I'm checking YouTube videos, I'm checking all kinds of stuff, and it's really tough to find this information. And it's just one of those things where, because it is such a niche game and not everybody knows about it, or it doesn't have that much of a focused, you know, support group for it, which makes it sound weird, doesn't it? It needs a support group. You know, just a community of people coming together to share information. There's a lot more information on translations than there is on actually where things are in the game that got released, so it's maybe it's a little bit too early to have that kind of information, I'm not sure, but it's really frustrating from somebody from my perspective, where all I want to do is get all the shit, and I don't want to figure out where it all is. I want to know where it is so I can go and do it quickly and, you know, reap the benefits, and I just physically can't do this. So it makes it a little bit awkward. And then, of course, you have the moderation of there's a bunch of characters to do this on, so you don't have to just do it with Kazuma, you have to do it with all of them if you want your characters maxed and things, and it's something that's going to take a long time. But here is another fight as Saejima, and you're going to see a pattern with all my fights with this character. I'm going to put a massive emphasis on the throw techniques, because they give you iframes, and iframes in this game are incredibly important when fighting groups of people. And whenever you do a group as Saejima, you're going to really wish that you had him 4 groups, because outside of Akiyama and his triple kick that can be incredibly finicky to do at times, but for the most it's okay. Saejima beats groups. He really does. He has all the tools to defeat large groups of enemies, and then you play as a character such as Shineda, who has this tackle technique which you can use to control crowds, and he also has the ability to use weapons really well, but he's nowhere near as adept at it, so you'll be missing this character and people like Akiyama for those moments. Even, to some extent, Kazuma is not as good as this beast, because he's just so powerful, and it's the iframes that saves it. And I mean, look at these encounters. There's a couple of encounters here against a lot of people, but you don't have to worry with this character, because as soon as you get the bounce, you're almost guaranteed the follow-up, as long as you don't get hit like that. That's one of those exceptions. And then it gets a bit rough as everybody starts hitting you, and it's very difficult to recover with Saejima, because he doesn't have a swift recovery when he's knocked down, I don't think. And if he does, I haven't found it, which makes him kind of frustrating to play, as he also doesn't have the quickest get-up speed either. So he's one of those characters where once you start getting hit, it can be difficult to get out of it, because his evade is so very intentionally bad. And then if you do get knocked down, you can't quick recover, and when you're getting up, it seems to take forever with him. So I do believe that he can be a very frustrating character to players, and there's nothing worse than having a bunch of dudes around you and getting beat up. Oh, this is pretty cool too. There is a environmental heat action using this pipe that hits a ton of people, and I think the arena has 2 of these pipes, so definitely make the most of those. Incredibly useful tools. It is funny, this game as well, where they do these ridiculous heat actions, and there are times where you get stopped in the middle of the street by a host who's pissed off at you for some silly reason. He starts a fight and you kill him. Like, you literally fucking kill this dude. Slam his head into concrete, you knee his face into the concrete, you step on his neck. Like, you've just killed a man, and everything's cool, and the entire crowd is cheering as you commit murder. It's just so funny. And I've come over to this pipe to try and get another one of those quick time events to see if I can trigger it. I'm not too sure if it lets me. I guess we'll soon find out. But it's a comfortable position to be in when you've got Saejima and heat, because he just propagates more heat and it becomes incredibly difficult to interrupt. Obviously, if you're trying to do something along the lines here of a no damage battle, then you're in for a much different approach to these encounters, because to no damage this game involves playing in a very specific manner, which I don't think is the most interesting to watch, and I don't think it's the most interesting to play. And I've got a couple of plans to do some stuff with Yakuza, but it all depends on how interesting it is. Like, the good news about Saejima is he has a parry, and it's not a traditional parry of the Kamaki parry where you do a grab, or what Shineda does. It's like the Taiga drop. It's an attacking parry, and it's amazing, but the timing on it's a little strict, and you have to risk taking a hit to land it, and because there's so many animations and so many attacks with different animations, it's very easy to get tagged. And this is a game where restarting is a pain in the dick for 2 reasons. The first one is, if you're on EX hard like I am right now, you'll revert back to a save point rather than a retry moment, which is incredibly frustrating. And some of the fights later on are going to be a little bit messy, because I'd literally done an hour's worth of gameplay of mashing buttons to skip dialogue and forgot to save, going into a boss fight, got hit a couple times and thought, shit, I'm going to do this again, and then realised I'd have to do another hour's worth of gameplay just to get to it. And it's not even gameplay, it's literally sitting and watching people fucking talk and tapping X, and it's ridiculous how long it takes to do that shit, because you can't skip it, you know? You don't just press start and press X to go to gameplay, you can only skip a very select amount of things, and then it's tapping to get rid of dialogue, and it's terrible, really. It really is bad. But this is Kushida. Oh, sorry, not Kushida. This is Kugihara. And he is a boss. And this guy has a very interesting moveset. And I wish we could practice it in the arena and have somebody who fought like this dude, but it doesn't seem to exist. So all we have is this particular individual. And he has very fast moves. He has very slow moves. He has the ability to stun you. He has these weird evades. But the good news is we can land a parry. That is the most annoying thing in this game, that when they have one of those spinning back fist moves that puts you into a stunned state, and it's a guaranteed stun as well. It's really annoying. But I try a couple of jabs on him. You'll notice he recovers very quickly, he blocks well, and he dashes away and does some weird attacks. I'm going to see if he's got a running move, but he doesn't. But you'll notice, when I run away from him and he catches me, he does a standing jab that's incredibly quick. If he does that every time, there's a kind of a predictable pattern to him if you get some distance, and you can use that to land a really powerful counter-attack, or dodge it and then go into a combo from behind. One of the basic tenets of combat in Yakuza games is to dodge a character's move and then attack him from behind, because he cannot recover unless they're a very specific enemy. That right there was a failed counter-attack. My timing wasn't good enough, but I didn't take too much damage, so it was okay. And that was a correct one. That's what we were going for. The problem is, I get the stun. Oh, that worked perfectly, actually, no problem whatsoever. I'll finish that thought, though. One of the issues I have in these games, when you do something like that and you get a stun, is there doesn't seem to be many actions you can do afterwards against certain bosses. Because if you're up against a boss who can't be grabbed, you can't do what I just did then. So you try and do a combo, your first hit wakes them up, your second hit misses because they'll dodge it, or they'll block it, and then they'll counter you. So when you get those stuns, there doesn't seem to be a very good command to do to get maximised damage from it. A lot of the times I'll try and go behind them and grab them that way, but there are times when you can get countered doing even that. Some characters have a charge move, which is much better because you can get a cheeky charge and do that, but other characters don't. And there's only one character on the game, in the previous games, who had the ability to do a move in that stunned state, which I believe was Kazuma with that really powerful ultimate essence. But in this game, they changed it, and now it's incredibly shit, basically. And it's really annoying, because it was a great move in Yakuza 3 and 4. I think it was in 3. It might have only been in 4. You'll have to bear with me, guys. I've played them very quickly together, so it all kind of mingles together, but here is a kind of superfluous jet ski moment. It does remind me of Die Hard 2, and anything that reminds me of Die Hard 2 is a good thing. But it looks like crap, and it's not the most interesting sequence, and then it leads into a boss fight that's one of those bosses that's just not very fun because of a few variables that I'm going to discuss. That being said, I do have a decent strategy for you. One involves dodging the bear, and then attacking it with a combo, but you have to hit its face. If you don't hit its face, you'll not get a stun, and it'll hit you with some bullshit moves that can't be blocked. The other one is to counter it, and the counter window is not too tricky to do. I just didn't think to do it until at the end of the fight, and then when I do it, it shows how powerful the counter is, because it gives you iframes, does massive damage, and it increases your heat. That being said, I don't think the bear has any really interesting heat actions you can do outside of a counter technique. On a side note, folks, I have some bad news too. Nothing serious, but just a bit annoying coming from my perspective. I've recorded both Haruka's chapter and Shineda's chapter, but both of them will not have any volume. And if you're listening right now, you can hear the speeder bikes, you can hear the moves of me dodging, you can hear Baba talking there as we do the dodge. So you're going to miss out on a lot of the stimulus of the game, which is incredibly frustrating to me. And I can't just re-record it because I've saved past those sequences, so I'd have to play the entire game again. And as much as that's something I'm actually willing to do, I don't have the time for it at the moment, because there's a couple of projects coming out very soon, and there's a couple that I need to shake my ass and do before then, so it's just a bit of an awkward time. But you might be wondering, well, why? And it's 100% the PlayStation 3. I made a mistake. It's my fault, but it's also, the PS3 is a piece of shit, and I will forever hate this console till the day I die. This is the bear, by the way, as you can see, huge bear. And he has this amazing ability to sometimes not get stunned. And then he punches through whatever you do because he has massive armor, so be very careful. But wait for him to attack, dodge the attack, do one punch, and then charge your fist and hit him in the face. If done correctly, you'll get a stun. You should see me do it there. See that? That's what you're looking for. And then afterwards you can land about 3 hits but get out of there. And just repeat it, but watch. That one didn't work because I didn't hit his face. So it's very finicky, and this is not the most precise combat mechanics you'll ever find, but it does work if you land it correctly, so a little bit of practice and you should be okay. Later on I'm going to do the counter, so watch out for that. But I wanted to record this game and listen to it at the same time, and I wanted to use my headset to do that because I'm using Astros, and Astros are a nice headset and I want to listen to the game. So to do this, I have to change the system settings on the PlayStation 3 to optical, because that's what Astros use. So I did that, I'm listening to the game I'm recording, everything's great. On the Xbox 360, on the PS4, on the Xbox One, on the fucking Commodore 64, if I would have done this, the capture would have been fine. But on the PlayStation 3, because of how shitty it's designed, it isn't fine at all. The audio, because that's how you say audio, for whatever reason, comes only via optical and absolutely nothing else. So I'm getting all the sound, and the capture device is getting none of it. And I did that for those 2 chapters without realising, so thanks to just the archaic draconian bullshit of how that machine's designed, and my ignorance and stupidity of not knowing that that's a thing has made this walkthrough suffer. So I apologise for that. It sucks, but it's happened. And luckily enough, I've caught it before the end of the game, so I can get some of the stuff back. But it's going to make it really interesting to commentate, 'cause commentating in silence is weird once you get used to having that white noise of background. So I think I'm going to probably try and put maybe some Yakuza soundtrack on it, or I don't know. I really don't know. It's when I think about it too much, it pisses me off, so I'm trying not to think too much. But it sucks. It does suck. And I've changed it back now, so we shouldn't have this problem in the future. It's just... come on, Sony, really? It's just weird to me, but... here we go, feel the heat. Tap that X button, build up that fist, and then finish up... what's his name? Yoroi Yashi or something? This is a bear that you're going to know all about in the side quests if you choose to do them, but this is a walkthrough and I won't feature them. But that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. You take care now.